guys, what's going on? Jay the Reporter coming at y'all once again, and it's week 17, y'all. We did it. We made it through an entire NFL season, and also not just made it through the entire season, but we made it through the entire season without having to delay or push back one single week. So, for anyone wondering if it can be done under these conditions, just look what the NFL did and how they chose to move forward. Perfect planning. Wouldn't expect anything less from this league. Now, to go ahead and let y'all know where I stand, boom, there's my record. Now, all I need is 7 wins. And I got the full slate of games to get there to hit the goal of 120 wins for the season. So, without further ado, let's get it started. First game on the docket, Bills, Dolphins. Dolphins need to win to make the postseason. Bills need to win to pretty much keep the Dolphins out. With a Dolphins loss and a Browns win, Browns are in. So, with this being the case, I seriously do believe that the Bills are going to want to play hard enough to keep the Dolphins out. So I think the Bills are going to go out guns blazing to maintain that momentum, knowing they have to play again next week anyway in the wild card. You want to kind of keep that flow going. You have a young team, so you don't really need to rest guys. I'll let that team play it out, and I'm believing the Bills are going to be triumphant in that. So I'm going to take the Bills against the spread in this one, -2.5. Next one up, Ravens, Bengals. Bengals have no shot. Ravens win, and they're in. I'm taking the Ravens in this one, even against the spread with it being 12 points. I think the Ravens are going to want to come out and solidify their standing in the playoffs. And also, what they're going to want to do is not just solidify themselves in the playoffs, but also kind of iron out any things that may be hindering them going into the next week, because they very well may be playing either the Bills or the Steelers going into it, and that's not a good matchup for them either way. I think the Steelers defensively can actually do more against them than do more against the Ravens than the Ravens can actually do against them. So given that, I personally do believe that the Bills would much rather be the team that they would face. If I was the Ravens, I would rather face the Bills going into it than I would the Steelers, just given because of matchup and the fact that the Steelers have beaten them twice this year. Now, speaking of the Steelers, next game on that docket, Steelers, Browns, and the spread in that one is 9.5 points. Now, granted, the Steelers have almost no one playing, but also these are the Cleveland Browns. And as bad as this is going to sound, the Browns need to win to get in. Point blank. They win, they're in. But I just don't believe that this team can hold on. I mean, if the Browns win, all well and good, they're in. But in this one, we're not really picking winners. What we're picking is the spread. The spread's 9.5. I'm going to take the Steelers plus 9.5 in this one. I just feel a lot more confident in that, especially given the fact that the Browns just came off of a loss to the New York Jets, of all teams, that lost to the Jets. That hurts. Now, and all they needed to do was win that game when they were in, but they decided to do this the hardest way possible and having to get a win against a division foe, and also not just a division foe, but one that still wants to beat you. So this is how that kind of lines itself up. But moving on, Vikings, Lions, no playoff implications, not really going to focus on much. Dalvin Cook, though, praying for your family. I understand how it is when you lose a family member. Prayers go out to Dalvin Cook. But with everything going on into it, I'm still going to take the Vikings in this one over the Lions, because the Lions are just a very ill-prepared team, and they're already looking forward to the offseason. So you got to just roll with a team when they're like that. Next up, Jets, Pats, yet another non-playoff matchup, a game with no playoff implications, and the spread in that one is 3 points. I'm taking the Jets, +3. I just do not believe in anything New England this year. I know it sounds very weird to say, given the last 20 years of what that team has done. I just don't like that team. Like I said, the Patriots, when I said this way back at the beginning of the season, when it would have been preseason, when I was doing my division breakdowns, I have more faith in the Jets than a lot of people did, and that wound up, being something to shoot myself in the foot before. But with that being said, I still think the Jets, for all their woes, are a better ball club. And typically when you know your coach is getting fired, you want to send them off on a high note. And we all know Bill Belichick is still going to be the coach of the Patriots, win or lose. But we know that Adam Gase is out in New York as the Jets coach. They're pretty much already looking for his replacement as we speak. So I'm looking at the Jets +3, sending Gase out on a high note. We'll take that. Next game up, that does have playoff implications. Cowboys Giants. Now, this game, very important for both teams. Now, if the Giants win and Washington loses, Giants win the division. If the Cowboys win and Washington loses, the Cowboys are in. So pretty much the winner of this game is praying and hoping that the very last football game of the season is going to be an L for Washington. And we'll get to that game in a second. Now, just looking at the matchup and how this is really garnering itself out, I'm personally going to take the Dallas Cowboys in this one, and it's only because of what they can do offensively will I take Dallas. I don't believe in anything defensive coming out of that ball club in Dallas. I'm this close to calling them the Alice Cowboys because they're lacking D. So there's really no way I'm going to sit here and say that I believe the Cowboys can hold off a major offense. So literally, had this matchup been Cowboys-Eagles, I would have took the Eagles in this one, and the Cowboys would have been sitting on the pine. But in this one, I'm taking Dallas, and it's also Dallas -3, so they are favored. Next game, Falcons, Bucks. Spread is 6.5. I'm taking the Bucks in this one, -6.5. The Falcons have been playing great football. I mean, a level of great is what they have been playing. And also, the Bucks have. Now, the Bucks aren't necessarily positioning themselves for anything to do with the division title. That has sailed a long time ago. No chances of that. Now, what they have done is position themselves to play against the worst division champion, which will either be the Cowboys, the Washington football team, or the New York Giants. So I believe what they're going to do is use this Falcons game as a tune-up to get ready for basically a not really even a shoe-in, because they did struggle with the Giants. So I'm thinking they're going to use this game to kind of clean up, make sure they're not, having any real weaknesses that are going to show. I'm liking the Bucks in this one. I'm thinking they're going to be gearing for the postseason in this game, and that's exactly what I'm getting them to do here. Taking the Bucks -6.5. Next game on this docket, and just to let you guys know, this video is going to be a little bit longer because it is every single game for this week. Normally, I'm missing Thursday games or even Saturday games when they were played. Sometimes I miss those. It's every single team playing tomorrow. So it's like a week 1 without the Thursday kick. Every team is playing. Getting to it. Packers, Bears. Packers -5.5. And I'm taking them with that. And it's mainly because the Packers, I believe they want to keep the Bears out of the postseason. Now, keep in mind, with a Chicago loss, it ends their postseason hopes. This is what happens when you don't focus up, when you lose games you should win, or when you go on crazy long losing streaks. Chicago, for example, this year went on a 6-game losing streak. They were 5-1. I remember it because I made a freaking video about it after the Bucks game when they beat Tampa. I said, this team should be taken seriously. And right after that, what did they do? They didn't take themselves seriously, and they lost 6 straight games. So it left me with egg on my face, and also is now leaving me to pick against them in this game. Packers -5.5. That's where I'm going with it. Next game, Raiders, Broncos, has 0 playoff implications. I'm sorry, Vegas. You had a shot. But the game against the Dolphins, which, in my opinion, game of the year. But outside of that, Raiders, Broncos, it's going to be a rivalry. The teams will come out to play. That's just what they're going to do. I'm looking at it in a totally different light, though. I'm taking the Raiders against the spread in this one, and it's against my better judgment because lately the Raiders have low-key sucked. But what they have done over the course of the last couple of years with Chucky at head coach is exactly what they were doing. They were getting better year over year. You don't necessarily see teams that go from cellar dweller to perennial playoff overnight. Now it's happening right now with the Dolphins. The Dolphins went from one of the worst teams in the NFL last year to a 10-win ball club this year. So it's a very good chance that they can go ahead and make that same move here with the Raiders. But their year, I believe, is next year for the Raiders. I believe that's going to happen. And I believe they're probably going to wind up winning this one and have another, I'll say, a step up from the year before where they only won 7 games. So big ups to what they're doing. I see they're doing it. It's just developing slowly, but these are some very impatient times we live in. So a lot of people don't like to see that slow rise to fame, but I like to see that because it's showing steady improvement, especially given the fact that no one gave this roster a chance when the season started. I had them at 7 wins. They're already at 7 wins. So we're going to see how this moves over. Maybe they finish better than I thought. Next one up, Jags, Colts, and this one, easy to pick. Jags are a terrible football team. In many cases, if you ask anybody, name all the teams in the NFL, guarantee you 80% of the population will skip right past the Jacksonville Jaguars. I can guarantee you they will. And it's at no fault of the city of Jacksonville on its own. It's at the fault that this team has pretty much sucked since its inception. Now, they had playoff runs, a couple of AFC title game appearances. I think one in 1996. Was it either 96 or 97? And then the one a few years back where all the Steelers had to do was win one game. But that's beside the point. Next game on the docket, of course, Colts minus 14, just to let y'all know. Taking the Colts. Next game up, Chargers, Chiefs. And the Chiefs are sitting everyone. And by everyone, I mean Patrick Mahomes. You do that, you instantly turn your team from a favorite into an underdog. And in this game, with these two teams matching up, given the game that was played earlier in the year, I'm going to take the team that has the best quarterback on the field. If the best quarterback on the field just so happens to be with the Los Angeles Chargers, I'm taking it. Justin Herbert, thank you very much. I'm taking Justin Herbert in this one. Minus 3.5. Go out there, give me some fantasy points in the championship game in a league where I went from worst to first. So I appreciate that draft pick. Next one up, Cardinals, Rams. This game has serious playoff implications. Win and you're in. The Rams struggled to win games they should have won, i.e. losing to the Jets. And the Cardinals have lost games they should have won and actually won a game they should have lost. So I guess that kind of balances itself out, especially given the fact that they were the last team to beat the Buffalo Bills, which outside of Kansas City, who has some serious faults, I may talk about that later. But given the fact that this is a team, like I said, that has some major faults, I still believe the Bills may be the best team in the AFC going into the postseason. But that's a different subject for a different video. Now, I believe, personally, both these teams are going to make it simply because the Bears will lose to the Packers. I just see that happening. I don't see the Bears winning, so I see both of these teams making it into the postseason. So Cardinals, Rams, and Seahawks. NFC West repping 3 teams in the playoffs. Now, in that game, I'm taking the Cardinals minus 3 just because the Rams have severely underperformed, especially recently. They may be a one and done once they get to the postseason. And I believe the same thing for the Cardinals. They, to me, overachieved this year, did the Cardinals. Overachieved, and I don't see them really winning anything once you get to the postseason because once you get there, the cream typically rises. I can say in many cases, the best team in the NFL does win the Super Bowl in many cases. In many cases. Next game up, Seahawks, Niners, taking the Seahawks because they're gearing up for, like I said, they're gearing up for a Super Bowl run. And not to say that they really have much of a shot. They do have a decent one. I believe if they wind up getting matched up with almost Notre Dame, get matched up with New Orleans, that's not going to really work out too well for them. But I believe if they match up with Green Bay, I believe Seattle can beat Green Bay. So if that matchup happens, that's who we're going to be taking. I'm going to be taking Seattle in that one. And also, guys, 3 games to go on the docket. 3 games to go. Next one up, Saints, Panthers. Now, for those of y'all who do not know or were living under a rock for the last couple of days, right now the coronavirus is running rampant throughout the Saints backfield. They have not one active running back that has seen time this year playing in this game on Sunday. So at any shot that they would have had to get the number 1 seed had already went, I would have gone ahead and just said, Breeze, take a break, because literally what you would be doing if you put Breeze out there without Kamara, without any of those backs, what you're going to do is allow a quarterback who has struggled mightily in the last 2 games to go out there and get not just his confidence shattered, but probably his body broken. Sit him down, get ready for the postseason, put out Taysom Hill, go out there, lose this game to Carolina, which I have a feeling they're going to do. And also, that's why I'm taking Carolina plus the points in this one. I don't like New Orleans in this matchup whatsoever. Carolina get a cheap win. It'll make the season look better. Evaluate this team. See what you guys can go out there and get. Like I said, this is the best bad team in football. I seriously do believe there's a couple of things that need to address. Defensive line being one of them. Defensive backfield being the other. And up front being the next one. If they can't grab a quarterback for the future and just hold on to Teddy Two Gloves, then go ahead and draft the O-line to keep him protected. And also, you may want to look at possibly moving McCaffrey, because if he can't stay healthy, he's of no good to you. As a Steelers fan, we had Willie Parker. Willie Parker was a great back for his time, but he couldn't stay healthy. You got to move off of a guy who can't stay healthy, because the best ability in all of football is availability. If you're not available, you can't make a difference. And if you can't make a difference, you shouldn't be on my payroll. Typically how that works. Next game up, Titans, Texans. And this game has 0 playoff implications outside of maybe a division champion. And Titans win. I believe they win the champ. I believe they win their own division. Honestly, that division is up in the air between the Colts and the Titans. So whoever wins that division, they're going to be meeting each other again in the postseason, like right next. Like the very next matchup will be those two meeting again between the Titans and Colts if things work out the way they should. So if that's going to be the case, then I see that working just that way. Last game on the docket. Washington, Philly, Cowboy fans, Giant fans, Eagle fans. Let's be real quick. I may even clip this part out and just let this be a talk to y'all. How do you let the team with no name, no identity, sneak from being the worst team in your division when the season started? The Giants had a decent enough defense and a competent enough offense to be better than Washington when this season started. How do you let Washington, who's had a quarterback with one leg, a quarterback that should have been cut a year ago, a coach who was barely there because he was battling cancer, a front office in total disarray due to their nickname being dropped and as well as sexual assault allegations, pull off winning the division? And they're going to do it with 7 wins. Yet another sub 500 division champion out of the NFC. Washington will beat Philly tomorrow. When this happens, Washington will win the division. I will take this part clipped out, post it on my Facebook page, post it on my TikTok, and whatever the heck else I can find to post it to, just to let those 3 fan bases know you should be completely disappointed in yourselves. I don't want to hear for the next 5 years anything about any of those franchises being Super Bowl bound if you couldn't have kept the team that don't even know who they are from winning their division. you better hope and pray that Philly wins and either the Cowboys or the Giants rep you all in the playoffs, because this will be an embarrassment that your franchise cannot live down. Other than that, guys, this has been a complete NFL season. It is done. I will post my year record at the beginning of the postseason when I do the bracket breakdown and who I think is going to win, and also breaking down the games as they happen as well. So follow me on TikTok for that at the halftime adjustment. It's just that, the halftime adjustment. The same thing you typed into YouTube, same thing you type into TikTok. Give me a follow on there. I'm trying to grow that as well. So without further ado, my name is Jay the Reporter, signing out. Peace.